starting it.
Wait.
Hello.
So, high-speed rail is an investment in our infrastructure. Our country's infrastructure, which includes freeways, highways, roads, bridges, and railroad tracks, are starting to become outdated and dangerous. It is important that our infrastructure is the best. America can start investing in infrastructure, specifically in high-speed rail. There are many benefits to investing in high-speed rail. For example, competitive infrastructure, jobs, competitive transportation, connecting our cities like Europe and China have done, safer transportation, and travel. A little background about high-speed rails for those who are unsure of what it is and why the debate is happening. High-speed rail is much faster than traditional rail. High-speed rail would go about 75 miles to 220 miles per hour, where regular rail goes about 50 to 70 miles per hour. It uses a different type of track that is securely welded and uses a stronger type of steel to handle the higher speeds. There are a lot of potential benefits, and that is where I'm going to go throughout the speech. This map shows where our rail lines would take us. So a lot of metropolitan cities, that would connect us better as a country. China's investing a ton of money into their infrastructure. $300 billion is being invested to add 16,000 miles of track by 2020. We have just started with about $13 billion, according to The Economist, the newspaper. It's the magazine. They are rapidly growing and adding infrastructure at a blistering pace, with America lagging behind. It's understandable that a country that already has infrastructure in place doesn't find it as important. But China will be able to move people at a quicker pace, more people, and making the United States less competitive, because time is money. Revamping our infrastructure and our transportation will benefit us greatly. The train system will connect a lot of metropolitan areas in ways they've never been connected before, or they have been in the past, but since train travel has kind of diminished lately, trains typically, when they were built, it was when cities were starting to grow, so they're downtown, unlike airports, which are way outside of town. So it's 40 minutes about to get to an airport compared to a train station, which is right downtown. Right now, the train system is hardly utilized. The government-owned passenger rail, Amtrak, has lost billions of dollars because it is slow and an uncomfortable way to travel. But Amtrak is part of our infrastructure. They own track all over the U.S., and Amtrak provides a lot of jobs now and could bring more jobs in the future. Obama, in the stimulus, gave $8 billion to build a high-speed rail, which means people laying track, building trains, signals, and all the support for the manual labor. The $8 billion will be spent mostly on labor and materials, adding to our economy. Down the road, more people will be able to travel faster and cheaper and have more money and time to spend on buying goods. According to Environmental Law and Policy Center, the economic value of the improved mobility has been valued at $13.2 billion through 2030. So that already pays for the stimulus. Naysayers. This, of course, is attributed to faster travel, more productivity, and, of course, easier trade. According to the same paper by the Chicago branch of the Environmental Law and Policy Center, a study for the city of Chicago estimated that high-speed rail would bring $8 to $10 billion of new economic activity to Chicago through 2050. Economic addition to our economy for the long term is great for large metropolitan areas because it can bring a lot of people to other businesses and makes their travel easier. With a new track and rail system, a study by the New York Times show that ridership is expected to climb to 43.5 million riders a year by 2040, just in the Northeast corridor, which is Maine to about North Carolina, and over through Virginia, because there's a lot more compact cities, so train travel is a lot easier. The trains, however, are nearing full capacity, and many rail lines, tunnels, and stations will need to be upgraded or replaced, the railroad has said. Improved infrastructure to handle the increased passenger for this type of travel means that we need to invest a lot more money in this type of high-speed rail. Amtrak needs a facelift and fast. If it is a more comfortable and convenient ride, people will take it much more often than airplanes. There's also a cost and environmental savings for this type of travel. According to the New York Times and a Harvard professor who wrote this article, I estimate benefits by comparing rail to air. A train going from Dallas to Houston at 150 miles an hour would take 96 minutes. Southwest Airlines takes an hour for the same route, but the need to arrive early could add on an extra hour if you're lucky. It'll add on another 36 minutes for the driving to and from the airports, which means that the train saves about an hour. The per passenger benefit from the high-speed rail line is the saved cost of the Southwest ticket, about $80, plus an hour's worth of time, let's say $40, plus any added benefits from the comfort of the train, $20 more. All told, benefits per trip are $140. Since the variable costs are $72 for the trip, 30 cents a mile times 240 miles, minus the variable costs, the benefits minus the variable cost of $72 comes to $68 a trip. If these numbers were right, then if these numbers are correct, we don't know yet until the high-speed rail is built, then the system should be able to run a healthy operating profit. High-speed rail, of course, needs to be competitively priced compared to air, because otherwise it's a little bit slower, so it needs to be able to take some of the market away from air travel. The simple equation shows how train travel can be competitively priced with air. Emissions from high-speed rail benefits the environment. According to the Environmental Law and Policy Center, high-speed trains in the Midwest could be 3 times as energy efficient as cars and 6 times as energy efficient as planes. Choosing rail travel over driving or flying will decrease our dependence on foreign oil, because trains don't run on oil. Well, they can, but these high-speed trains don't. And reduce air pollution that causes climate change. Less emissions compared to an automobile means that many cars could be taken off the road. More people can travel at once in a train and a car. It'll be less cluttered highways, so less traffic. Overall, it's just a better way to travel. We no longer have to buy tons of foreign oil if our rail system is a healthy, thriving system. There are many benefits as to why we should have a high-speed rail. I know a lot of people are uninformed or misinformed on this topic. High-speed rail will keep us competitive. Air travel is costing more and more each day. No one wants to pay for their bag. Emissions from cars are changing. The climate. Transportation needs competitive pricing. Amtrak can hopefully start providing a service America has been missing.